My name is Gary Strauss, and this is my Calculating Transportation Costs video for EDU 528 for William Woods University. I'll be using St. Charles West High School for my transportation budget for this video. Information that is needed for calculating transportation costs. You'll need to know the number of away games for each sport, the number of buses for each game, the bus rate per mile for each game, which is $1.25 in the St. Charles School District, the number of miles round trip for each game, the total cost for each bus, the driver's rate per hour for each game, which is an average of $18 an hour in the St. Charles School District, number of hours for each game, and total cost for each driver for each game. How to calculate the total transportation cost for each game. You multiply the bus rate per mile times the number of miles round trip. You take that total and multiply it times the number of buses used for the trip. This new total equals the bus cost per game. Then you multiply the driver's rate per hour times the number of hours. Multiply that total times the number of buses used. And this new total equals the driver's cost per game. To get the total, you add the bus cost per game plus the driver's cost per game. How to calculate the total season transportation cost. You add the total cost for each game, and then the sum of the total cost per game equals the total season transportation cost for each sport. I chose to do football as one of my two sports. We had 5 road games at the varsity level and 3 at the C team level, which is a combination of freshmen and sophomores. 3 of our trips, one to Festus for a C game was an hour, one to Potosi for varsity was an hour and a half, and one to Cape Central down in Cape Girardeau, Missouri was a 2-hour trip. Each week we took 3 buses to our road games for varsity due to the COVID-19 pandemic, so that we could be social distance on the bus. We took 2 buses for each C team game for that same reason. The season cost for the total season cost for football this year was $4,871. Softball was the other one that I took, the other sport. There was 12 varsity games on the road and 7 JV games on the road. Sometimes they played at the same site and they just had 2 different fields, or they played back-to-back games. No matter what, they only took 1 bus. Most of their trips were within a half an hour. Their longest trip of the year was to Montgomery County for their district game. So due to the fact that their trips were shorter and the number of hours for the softball games is shorter than football games, the cost was less for softball, and that was a total of $1,735.75. The total cost for football and softball for the 2020 fall season, football for varsity and C road games was $4,871. Softball for varsity and JV was $1,735.75. The 2020 season total for football and softball was $6,606.75. I used Google Maps to calculate the total round trip miles for each game. The driver's hourly rate is an average of all the bus drivers. The total number of hours was from pickup at St. Charles West to drop off at St. Charles West. The 2020 football season was more expensive due to taking a 3rd bus for varsity and a 2nd bus for JV. In the past, we only took 2 buses for varsity and usually 1 for JV or C team. I found that I think as an AD, organization is going to be vital. You'll have to manage each sport independent of the others and have their own spreadsheets, and use the final spreadsheet that you need for all the sports will be season transportation total costs for each sport, and that'll give you your year-long transportation budget.